we are again asked to simplify and then classify by degree and number of terms. So the classify part is not new, but we're now going to be asked to simplify some things that involve multiplication more than just distributing a 1 or a -1. Notice in the first problem, we're actually being asked to distribute 3x squared through this set of parentheses. So we need to remember our laws of exponents from Unit 4. When I do 3x squared times 5x to the fourth, I'm going to write this out really clearly so we can see what we're doing, right? First, we're doing 3x squared times 5x to the fourth plus 3x squared is going to multiply 3x cubed plus 3x squared is going to multiply 1. Now, chances are you will very quickly get to a point where you don't need to write out that step. But for right now, I want to be extra clear so that you can see what we're doing. So when I multiply these first two monomials together, 3 times 5 is 15, right? We're multiplying those coefficients. X squared times x to the fourth, that's multiplying with the same base. So we need to add those exponents. That's going to be x to the sixth. For my next term, it's going to be positive. 3 times 3 is 9. I multiply the coefficients. X squared times x to the third, I'm multiplying with the same base, so I add the exponents, and 2 plus 3 is 5. And then my next term is also positive. 3 times 1 is 3, and the x squared doesn't have anything to multiply by, so it's still an x squared. So we have simplified, and notice our answer is already in standard form because the highest power comes first and the lowest power comes last. We're classifying by degree and number of terms so that we can keep practicing that. Notice this has a degree of 6 and we don't have a fancy word for that. So this is a 6th degree trinomial because it has 3 terms. All right, let's take a look at the problem right underneath that. Oh, actually, no, let's go to the right first because that's also just distribution. Going to the right, notice this 2x has to distribute to the x and the -4. And then the -5x squared needs to distribute to the x and the -6. So I'm going to write that out again using that extra step that you might not really need, but it's going to be helpful to us for right now. Now a negative times a negative is going to be a positive. All right, so 2x times x. Well, when I multiply with the same base, I add those exponents to get 2x squared. 2x times 4, just the coefficients get multiplied. -5x squared times x. Well, x to the second times x to the first. When I multiply with the same base, I add the exponents to get 3. And in the last term, just the coefficients multiply. Now I need to look and see, can I combine any like terms? Because I can see right away that this is not in standard form. So there are 2 terms with x squareds, but that's not the highest power. The highest power is a 3. So first we're going to have -5x cubed, and then 2 plus 30 is 32, so plus 32x squared, and then minus 8x. That's our simplified form. This thing is cubic because the highest degree is 3, and a trinomial because it has 3 terms. All right, let's take a look at this one down here. I actually started this one out for you. I wanted you to see that this is what we sometimes call double distribution. Notice instead of just having 1 term to distribute, I actually have 2 terms. So first, we're going to take this 6x and distribute it through 2x plus 1. That's what we've written here. Then we're going to take this 5 and distribute it to the 2x minus 1. So that's what I've written there. I'm showing that I've actually got to do 2 distributions. So when I do that, 6x times 2x is going to be 12x squared. 6x times -1 is going to be -6x. Now I've used up all those parentheses. It's time to go on to the next distribution. Positive 5 times 2x is plus 10x, and positive 5 times -1 is minus 5. Then we look for like terms. The 12x squared and the -5, those are unique, but the 2 terms in the middle are both x terms, so those will get added together. So 12x squared plus 4x minus 5 gives us a quadratic trinomial. It's quadratic because it has the highest power of 2, and it's a trinomial because there are 3 terms. Now, don't get tricked by this one. Please remember, squaring something means to multiply it by itself. There is no such thing as a distribution property for exponents, so that is not what we're being asked to do here. We're being asked to take 2x plus 3 and multiply it by another 2x plus 3. And notice that looks a lot like the problem we just did on the left. So that means first we're going to have to take the 2x from the first binomial and multiply it by the whole second binomial. We're going to have to distribute it through. Then we need to take the positive 3 and distribute it through the second binomial as well. So we've got 2 distributions to do. Notice I was really deliberate and I wrote that plus in front of the 3 because this is an addition problem. I can't lose that sign. So starting from the beginning, 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and 2x times positive 3 is plus 6x. Then positive 3 times 2x is plus 6x, and positive 3 times 3 is plus 9. Kind of like the last problem. The first term and the last term are unique, but the middle terms are like terms, so we need to add them together. This also happens to be a quadratic trinomial.